The US-China trade war. Shocking consequences that will impact you. The global economy is in turmoil as tariffs escalate between the US, China, Canada, and Mexico. President Trump imposed a 10% tariff on Chinese imports and a 25% tariff on goods from Canada and Mexico, triggering China's retaliation with a massive 75% tariff on US exports. From skyrocketing car prices to disrupted supply chains, this trade war is reshaping industries worldwide. Let's break down the 7 biggest consequences of this escalating conflict. But before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe to Blitz Trends for more in-depth insights. China strikes back. First is the rare earth metals. China dominates the rare earth metals market, controlling nearly 60% of the global supply. These materials are essential for high-tech industries, including electric vehicles, smartphones, defense systems. Now, China is restricting exports to the US, threatening American manufacturing. Finding alternative sources is expensive and complicated. This could delay productions, increase costs for companies and consumers, slow down technological advancements in EVs, defense, and mobile devices. American firms will need to invest in alternatives, but that won't happen overnight. 2. The auto industry takes a hit. The automotive sector is in crisis. With a 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico, North America's tightly connected supply chain is under pressure. Automakers like GM, Ford, and Stellantis rely on parts crossing borders multiple times during production. Over $110 billion in annual trade is at stake. Manufacturing costs are rising, meaning higher car prices for consumers. Automakers might shift production, renegotiate supplier contracts, or absorb financial losses. Car dealerships could see declining sales, impacting consumer spending in other sectors. This could lead to major industry shifts, forcing companies to rethink their global strategies. 3. The chip shortage. The semiconductor crisis. If you thought the 2022 chip shortage was bad, brace yourself. The US has raised tariffs on China's semiconductors from 20.5% to 50% by 2025. This affects everything from vehicles to smartphones, as chips are essential for modern technology. China might restrict key materials, worsening the crisis. The auto industry could see delayed model releases and higher costs. The CHIPS Act is boosting US production, but building factories takes years. Until then, expect supply chain bottlenecks and rising prices. 4. The energy sector in crisis. The trade war isn't just about tech, it's also shaking up the energy industry. China is cutting American energy imports, reducing US oil and gas revenue. This could oversupply the domestic market, lowering prices and squeezing oil producers. Meanwhile, China is strengthening ties with Russia and the Middle East, shifting global energy power. The US is pushing for energy independence, but balancing fossil fuel production with renewables is a major challenge. 5. The EV war, US versus China. The electric vehicle EV market is now a battlefield. The US has imposed a 100% tariff on Chinese EVs to protect domestic brands like Tesla. But will this backfire? China heavily subsidizes its EVs, making them cheaper worldwide. Tariffs could raise prices, slowing EV adoption in the US. Battery supply chain disruptions could increase production costs for American automakers. While the goal is to boost US production, this move could delay new models, stall innovation, and increase consumer costs. 6. Healthcare is also hit. Another victim of the trade war? The medical industry. The US has slapped a 50% tariff on Chinese medical supplies, including syringes and needles, PPE, personal protective equipment, other critical healthcare items. While the goal is to reduce reliance on China, this move could increase healthcare costs and lead to shortages. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed the dangers of supply chain disruptions. Now, with tariffs raising costs, hospitals could struggle to secure essential equipment, putting patients at risk. 7. A global domino effect. The trade war isn't just a US-China battle, it's reshaping global trade alliances. The EU is imposing up to 45.3% tariffs on Chinese EVs, aligning with the US. Japan and Taiwan are boosting domestic industries to limit reliance on China. The world is shifting toward regional supply chains, which could mean higher costs, supply shortages, economic instability. Countries are trying to reduce dependence on China, but at what cost? Will this lead to long-term economic resilience or a prolonged global recession? Final verdict, turning point or turmoil? This trade war is reshaping entire industries. We're seeing rising car prices, supply chain chaos, an uncertain future for EVs. Will this push the U.S. toward economic self-reliance, or will it cripple industries under mounting tariffs? What's your take? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Will this trade war strengthen economies or lead to further crisis? Until next time, trend lightly.